Hello Virgo, welcome in. Welcome to my channel, Winged Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Rainey. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into Virgo energies, Virgo sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. Cross watchers are welcome. Looking for any divine messages of guidance that come through. I'm doing a bonus reading because Virgos continue to have the highest viewership on these readings. All right. What's hidden from Virgo? Thank you. Outcome and advice. Outcome and thank you. All right, let's turn these cards over, see what we're dealing with here, Virgo. Interesting. Okay. The overall energy of today's reading is the Five of Cups in reverse and the Page of Wands. Feels like you're healing from something that caused a lot of grief, a lot of upset, and following your spark, following your joy. Feels like this Five of Cups, it took a bit to get that turned around, to work through your emotions. Tell me more about the Five of Cups in reverse. What does Strength card reverse, Nine of Swords reverse, Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so something very upsetting where you were in a comfort zone, having to face your fears, having to leave a comfort zone and face your fears and work, get to work. Something, it just feels like there's a lot to do. After getting out of this comfort zone and facing your fears, there's a lot of insecurities with Strength in reverse. Tell me more about the Strength card reversed. Wow, your Pentacles are definitely in the right direction, from 8 Pentacles to 9 Pentacles. It looks like you healed from something that caused a great deal of grief. Feels very tied to this Nine of Swords in reverse. Something that had lost its taste, and yet it's still upsetting that it's over. Feels like whatever this was, it had your attention for so long that it's hard to change. Hard to change who you are to create a version of you after this. It's like a need to reimagine yourself, reimagine your life. And it looks like you're getting to work here. All right. And building independence. I'm so glad you got out of that comfort zone. This looks much better. Looks like you learned how to train your focus on what you want. Created a lot of abundance for yourself, fertility. It feels like the past is kind of peeking through and explaining this. There was someone, you were in a comfort zone with someone wildly immature. Page of Cups in reverse, someone unapologetic, emotionally immature. It feels like instead of this person maturing and growing, evolving, expanding, becoming a mature person, instead they want to stay immature. They don't want to grow. So you had to shrink yourself. You couldn't grow in this environment. You couldn't mature. I also get the feeling that to be in this relationship, you had to kind of lose yourself. Feels like you centered someone in your experience. So by the time you, it feels like an ending here, because you got out of a comfort zone, faced your fears, worked through the grief and disappointment, resentment. By the time you start recognizing that this person is not for you, that this relationship is never going to be fulfilling on any level, really. It feels like the longer you're in this comfort zone relationship, the more uncomfortable, the more disappointing, the more resentful you might be. Tell me more about the Knight of Swords in reverse. That's interesting. Ace of Wands. Okay. This is tough. So it feels like at the end of this relationship with this very immature person that they're doing everything but communicating with you an ending. They're going to everyone else. Okay, so this person needs someone to blame. They're immature. Instead of, this relationship just didn't work, let's go our own ways, how can we do this amicably? This person is stuck in blame and shame. The way they relate to others, I'm seeing playground. They're still kind of in playground maturity. They're definitely adults, but they just haven't evolved. They haven't matured. If you're going through this right now, it feels like that anger, that fury from how this person is behaving, it's wasted. If you're trying to send it their way, call them it just feels wasted. Or try anyone they're trying to communicate some smear campaign or negative story about you. It feels like a waste of time to try to argue this. Feels like the best use of that energy is to take care of yourself, heal, move on. It feels like there's a lot of business opportunity here, something you've been working on, and it's helped you elevate to independence, abundance. Virgo, this looks really good. Feels like taking that energy and giving it to yourself, to whatever you're working on that creates independence and stability, and detach is what I'm getting. Tell me. Oh, ow. Okay. This feels like a friend or a relative of this immature person. It feels like you're being handled. You're not being, communication isn't free flowing. And it feels like there's a friend or relative, someone who's close to this very immature person. I don't like this energy at all. They feel like they're preying on your vulnerability, preying on your lack of discernment. Tell me about this King of Wands and this wand energy here. Okay. There's a really big need here for you to take control of your energy, of your fire, and lead yourself out of this. Feels like there's a friend, someone close to this immature person who wants to take advantage of your confusion during this breakup. Queen of Swords in reverse. Can't see this clearly. They have, it's almost like they're showing up in a way that is not trustworthy, because they're opportunistic. Feels like someone is taking advantage of you while you're confused. It feels like I don't know what this looks like for you specifically, Virgo. Hitting on you, sending you messages. This person, instead of helping you out because you're in a vulnerable position, instead this person, it's like they're licking their lips and prey, seeing you as prey, someone they can take advantage of. So, not really a big fan of the people around this immature person either. Let me see what the Page of Wands is. Tell me about this Page of Wands energy. Moon reverse, Eight of Cups reverse. Hard to walk away from this person, this friend who is taking advantage of your confusion during an ending. Maybe while you don't see this coming, something like that. They're taking advantage of your emotions. They know that you have difficulty walking away from your emotions. There's so much hidden here. With the Moon card, but it feels like it's being exposed, it's being seen. This is not a friend. This is someone, an opportunist. Someone sees you vulnerable, sees that the person that you were or that you're breaking up with, someone has now opened you up. They don't care. Boy. So you're really vulnerable. It kind of feels like a pack of hyenas. Or coyotes. If you've ever heard coyotes hunting, and when they find something, the just is at night. It's a unsettling type of sound. And that's kind of what it feels like. You're very vulnerable during an ending of a relationship. You're seeing that you're with someone who's wildly immature, and it feels like there's a lot of fears and worries, a lot of grief and sadness. And there's someone taking advantage of your lack of discernment, of you in the middle of an ending and feeling very confused. It feels like you're turning this person down. Doesn't feel like you're saying yes, but it's hard to leave. It's very confusing. All right, in what's hidden, we've got the Hierophant in reverse, the Page of Swords in reverse, and Justice. Okay, so far we've got Aries energy, Leo, Taurus, and Libra energy showing up. All right. Tell me about the Hierophant. A broken contract, not learning, a break from a traditional way. Oh, Four of Cups Tower. I feel like you, Virgo, you've got this Four of Cups energy in what's hidden. Feels like you kind of sailed on. Now I've got that song, the Commodores, Sail On. Oh, what a great song. You might identify a little if you haven't heard that song. Lionel Richie, when he was with the Commodores, Sail On. God, now it's playing in my head. It feels like you have already left the room. You've realized that there's nothing left in this connection because it was a comfort zone. So it feels like after a broken contract, maybe after a marriage, broken marriage contract, a divorce here. But there's a tower. Why is there a tower? Okay. High Priestess, Ten of Swords in reverse. Okay. Feels like you were being set up around a breakup. Feels like you're very intuitive, Virgo. And you could perceive a very painful ending. Feels like you were having to negotiate, having to move. Feels very painful because it was a false reality. It was a comfort zone relationship. It wasn't grounded into reality. It feels like these type of relationships aren't grounded into reality. And the longer you are, months, years, decades, in a false reality that's not grounded into reality, you're in your own separate reality with this person. And so when you leave that environment, leave that reality, nothing makes sense. You don't work in other realities. You only work in that reality that's not grounded in reality, a false reality. So it feels like there were a lot of epiphanies, a lot of very uncomfortable truths as those false realities pop and you realize you are not in friendly territory. These are not your friends. They do not care for you. This is not caring for you. Everything here feels like people taking advantage of your vulnerabilities, taking advantage of your insecurities, pain, inability to make moves, lack of discernment because you were in that false reality and thinking everybody's on the same page and on the same side and that you're friends. But it looks like you were almost evicted from that false reality. You started seeing the immature person more clearly. I don't think you were prepared for this level of brutality, brutal ending. But also what I'm seeing is fortune after difficulty. That you It's almost like you needed to see. That these people aren't for you. It has something to do with your pentacles, something to do with your independence and your leadership skills. And maybe also this intuition of yours. Feels like you were navigating a very tricky situation, step by step, moment by moment. What's the Page of Swords in reverse? Okay, so this feels like that same immature energy. It feels like someone who has weaponized communication. Communication is not for connection and understanding. Communication is for manipulation, deception. It's a very manipulative, immature energy. This can't communicate. Can't learn anything new. This is who they are. They don't want to change. They sell fiction. They sell a fantasy. You might, Virgo, have been at the beginning of this relationship susceptible to fantasy, rumination. It looks like there's this potential for you to mature, emotional maturity, learning how to heal your wounds and get out of this vulnerable state, to no longer be stuck in illusions, delusions, but see things for what they really are and who they really are. When you're in a false reality, it's not grounded into reality. And the longer you're in that false reality, the more you lose yourself. You're not vibrating at your frequency. You're vibrating at whoever you're focusing on and whatever you're focusing on. So once that reality explodes, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of fear, a lot of insecurities, a lot of hurt, a lot of emotions that were repressed, suppressed to stay in that false reality. But once you leave that reality and get grounded into this reality, ground into what's real, start healing, feeling your emotions, not blaming, not trying to constantly stay in your emotions, but sitting with, processing through. Radical acceptance has helped me out of these type of confusing situations where my reality collapsed. Lots of realities collapsing, false realities, and it was painful and so confusing and so scary. And yet, you can do it. You can figure it out, because once you're down to reality and you ground in, then you start maturing. Once you accept, this is where it's at. Not, it should have been this way and they should have done. That's not helpful. If you're stuck in a story, can you expand out of the story and get to the theme? I remember in middle school, avid book reader, love reading. And so every time I'd finish a book, there was a teacher in the reading space that you would give like a oral book report. And I knew everything that happened in that book, but she always got me with, all right, what do you think the theme of the book was? Why was the book written? What did the author want you to learn? And that always stumped me because I was very stuck in story. I got the story, but I don't know what that theme is. And so that's really helpful. What have I learned? How can I get out of that story? That story sucks you in into a whole other reality, into your emotions. So you become your emotions. What's best, what's helpful is radical acceptance. Okay, this is where I am. This is what's happened. Now I'm going to process through my emotions so I can glean the wisdom on the other side. Once you sit and process through emotions, then on the other side of them, you're like, oh, yeah, I was very susceptible to, I kind of lived in my head and kind of fantasized. And so this person told me false illusions. Oh, I get it. So I was kind of having a relationship with them in my own false reality, a fantasy. And so that made me susceptible to their false reality type of thinking. But now I can mature. Now I can sit with these emotions and process through and get the wisdom that's on the other side. And train my focus. Learn who to focus, what to focus on, who to focus on. Me. Center you. Align with you. And decenter. If there's anyone else that you're focused on, someone else that's centered in your life, then you attune to them and not your own energies. There's something here about once that false reality collapses, then focusing on what you prefer. You can't, this other person, they don't want to grow. It's not that you can't communicate effectively your needs and wants. They don't care. They just want their false reality. All right, what's justice? We're still in what's hidden. You've got that Page of Swords in reverse showing up again. Ooh, with temperance. Balancing. Alchemizing your emotions. It takes time. So balancing your emotions creates justice. Healing from not telling the story, letting go of the story, accepting reality. Just radical acceptance. This is where I'm at. If you're in the past constantly, but they shouldn't have done that, and again, that's fictional thinking. How it should have been, how it could have been. They should have done that, but trying to get you grounded, Virgo. Feels like there's a lot of dreamy thinking. Shoulda, coulda, woulda thinking. And it doesn't help get you to be the person you prefer to be in the life you prefer to have. Justice comes when you start healing yourself, when you realize that these people are not your friends and act accordingly. If someone's not your friend, if someone doesn't care about you, you don't follow them and chase them and beg them to change their minds. You're like, got it, clocked it, going the other direction. Not a friend. To heal. All the emotion, Five of Cups in reverse coming out again to heal from the disappointments and the losses. Keep your own counsel. Don't tell your story to everyone. This feels like an ideal time to stop telling whatever stories you've been telling and just be present. Stand your ground. You are protected. You are guided, especially as you leave this and as you heal and put as much distance energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally between you and these energies. There's a lot of lucky energy, it feels like, as you leave the environment. All right, outcome and advice, Virgo. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Moon reversed. The Moon reversed also came up in the main messages around this friend or family member who is taking advantage of your lack of discernment during this ending. All right, let me get a different deck. That one's pretty small. All right, so last messages for Virgo. Why is the Moon card in reverse? What's coming to light? What's been hidden? The High Priestess in reverse and Six of Pentacles in reverse. What's been hidden? Is there someone that's actively working against you? Okay, there's a couple messages here. It feels like also what's being revealed is breadcrumbing. A lack of care, a lack of investing in you, a lack of investing in the relationship. Oh, and they want everyone. Okay, I get it. The immature person wants everyone to pull their energy, their time, their money. They want. Oh, wow. That's really cruel and wild. Okay. Boy, this person has like a win at any cost. When they kick you out of their false reality, they don't want anyone else. They want to control how people see you. If they can't control you, then they want to control how people treat you. They're wanting you to have no options. They're wanting to completely leave you decimated. The best way to disappoint this person is to heal yourself. Take care of you. Use whatever anger and frustration to give you the energy to get out of this energy, out of this space. Focus on you. Focus on what you need. Realignment. All right, because you've got this Ace of Pentacles, a new beginning, and it's a seed. But there's this need to water that seed, give it the nourishment, give it the right environment. In a way, you kind of feel like the seed at the end of the reading here, that new beginnings. And if you're finally planting yourself in a real reality where you're aligned with you, it feels like this very quickly moves to Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. Once you train your focus, learn what to focus on and what to let go of. Tell me more. Temperance again. Alchemize along the way. Heal along the way. It's not heal completely, understand completely, work complete. It's little bits at a time. Little healing, a little rebalancing, getting to work, whenever that energy comes up, whenever you feel those feelings, process them. They're your emotions. They're your emotions. So own your emotions, process them, get curious. What is this? This feels like resentment and frustration, anger, rage that has been repressed. And it doesn't make you bad. It makes you normal and human to have all of your emotions, the full range. Because those emotions are probably coming up to tell you, warning, this person's not for you. And to allow that energy to rise, and instead of attack back, because it's a waste of your energy, heal, grow, reimagine yourself in your life. It looks like you, again, Nine of Swords in reverse, getting out of a comfort zone type of relationship, and relatively so, very quickly, you start to feel blessed and happy because you are decentering someone else, and you're centering your own vibration, becoming aligned with what's for you. And so that feels like being blessed. It is blessings. It's happiness and joy. But when you are in a false reality for months, years, some of you decades, then when you get kicked out or you leave that false reality, takes an incredible amount of bravery, then it's time to heal, to reimagine yourself. And things move a lot quicker because you're in reality. You're grounded into earth. And you're dealing with realities and your own energy. And you've got all this wisdom on the other side. There's so much wisdom on the other side of healing. All right. Patience. Be patient with yourself. It's going to take the time it takes. Love yourself through this. Nurture yourself. Give yourself, meet your own needs. For some of you, this requires reparenting and healing, maybe from some wounds that you've been carrying around for a long time. And focus on what you have. Focus on what you do have going for you. I've got a practice of appreciation that has really buoyed me. So now when I have a difficult day, it's a part of a day or a day, and I know I'm going to reset my energy because I have such a practice of appreciation of joy. So even if things are difficult, start with what you've got. I have air in my lungs. I have a really comfortable seat here. I really love this seat. It's very comfortable. I love that I have technology and that I can meet so many people without ever having to leave my house. I can connect. I love that the technology allows me to do what I love and share it with so many of you online. I love my coffee. I love my coffee. I love the creamers. I love how the sweetness of it. I love the crystals. I love my setup. I love nature and see. And once I start going, then the appreciation starts building. And I love having, there's a bird, something else to appreciate. And oh my gosh, yesterday, hummingbirds. I saw so many hummingbirds. I trimmed a butterfly bush that's like 6 feet tall and gave it some extra loving. And immediately the next day, it was just hummingbirds all around. So focus on what you do like, what you do enjoy. Amplify that. while you're also sitting with what arises. And when difficulties arise, when your emotions come up, then process them, sit with them, sit with yourself. Don't abandon yourself, sit with your body. I hear you. Thank you for telling me. It's kind of like reparenting yourself. A lot of us, the way we treat our bodies and our emotional bodies and mental bodies is like how we were treated as a toddler. That if you're hurt or you have emotional energies coming up, that's bad and you're so uncomfortable, body. Why are you up? How about like, oh, thank you, body. Yeah. My ankle has been sore. Thank you so much for letting me know. I'm going to take care of myself. Thank you for sharing that. Let me send some hello to my ankle. Some hello energy, some consciousness, so my body wisdom can help heal it. So, all right, that's your reading. I hope that's helpful, Virgo. Take care. Have a great day.